Okay, now we've got one of our 3-speed transmissions here. We're going to show you, go through this disassembly. We'll start by taking our cover off, the side cover here. Okay, slides right out. Here's our shift forks. They engage into our synchronizer sleeve there. Set this aside. All right, now, first thing what we need to do, we'll go ahead and can pull out, let's see, we'll pull out our tail shaft assembly here. Okay. Pull off our front bearing also. Let's see if we can get this out. That's not going to come out yet. Okay. Pull in some snap rings. Pull our front bearing out. Put these over here with our tools. Okay. Got our bearing out. All right. Now we can pull off our extension housing. pull this out the back. All this together here. Attempt to anyway. Once we get this reverse idler out. Move the clip there. We'll get that out the bottom. All right. Pull that out. Reverse idler. Okay. Now we should be able to remove all this as a unit. There we go. There's our case. Now we have this whole, the input shaft and our main shaft here and the extension housing together. All right. Now to disconnect this from the rear, the tail shaft here, we've got a snap ring we need to release. So we'll just stand this up, okay, and let gravity drop it down once I release this snap ring, just like that. All right. So now, so I'll lay this down. Separated that snap ring there. Take the tail shaft right off. So we've got our main shaft. Now I should be able to disconnect our input shaft here. Once again, the pocket bearings. All right. So now this is all together. We have snap rings in the back, snap rings in the front. All right. So our synchronizer units here. Here's the synchronizer unit. This is the sleeve. We've got our blocker rings. All right. At this point, you could take your snap rings off and slide all these gears off the main shaft here. Now remember, we talked about how each of these gears on the main shaft, these actually spin freely. Okay, so each one of these spins freely. Isn't until our synchronizer unit comes over and engages our blocker ring with the dog teeth there, to where it locks it to the shaft. Okay, so you can see the shaft spins when that's engaged, and we disengage that. Okay. All right, we have it there. And then what's only that's left here inside of our case, we've got our counter shaft. So what we need to do to remove the counter shaft, we're going to remove that reverse idler also. These shafts right here come out the back. There is a little detent, little key that locks it in place. That's our reverse idler. And then for our counter shaft, push it out the front. From the front there, grab a hold of it. I can pull that out. And our little detent, little tooth there. And then now, I'm gonna lay this down there. Our counter shaft can come out. There you have it. Okay. Also pocket bearings in there, which ride on that counter shaft itself there. So, only other thing to make sure of is your thrust washers here, which are on the sides to control that forward and backward movement. All right. Now you can do your inspection of all the parts and pieces, and then we'll put it back together again. So we'll start by putting this counter shaft back into place. All right. Gotta be careful not to knock that out. Those bearings there. started. Hold that in front. Wiggle it a little bit to make it line up in front. Boom, there we go. Back into place. You can take this, slide it in there also. All right, now we can put our input shaft back on here. Well, let's wait for that. All right, we'll put this actually back on here. So we'll slide this, stand this up. Our main shaft, our extension housing. And we're gonna have that snap ring right there. It's gonna go in that groove, so we're just gonna snap it back into place. Okay, take our pliers, just like that. So now our extension housing is connected to our main shaft. All right, make sure our pocket bearings are still in place. Slide that back into place. We're going to insert this whole unit through the back of the housing here to install it. All right. So let's stand this up. All right. Work out for us. Just go this way. Best so you can see it. Just like that. All right. Now, before we get too far, slide that back. Pull out, reverse, make sure we slide it back in place. Okay. That point, to help provide a little leverage, we're going to slide this back on, hold that in place. We can put our extension housing bolts back on. Up. Get our reverse idler, our clip here. Take our screwdriver. Pop that bad boy into place. Got one more snap ring on the front here. All right, it's on the front. Now we just got our side cover to put back on. Make sure it's in neutral, neutral, neutral in the middle of those synchronizers there. Take our cover. We'll once again align the forks with the synchronizer sleeve here. Groove that. Set it back on. Put our side cover bolts back in. There you have it.